What does it mean to live a life that, well, that actually bends the course of history? To defy the odds, carry the scars of controversy, and still somehow etch your name into the foundations of human progress. Today, we've got a stack of fascinating articles, some detailed research notes people have shared, and we're doing a deep dive into a story that really embodies these questions. The extraordinary life of Linus Pauling.
He really is an incredible figure. And yeah, not just a chemist, as you said.
No, exactly. Our sources show he won 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. Think about that.
Which is just phenomenal in itself.
And he challenged governments, faced ridicule,
Yeah.
all driven by this insatiable curiosity and, well, conviction.
Unyielding conviction, definitely.
So our mission today is to unpack this incredible journey. We'll look at the brilliance, sure, but also the imperfections, the triumphs, and, his relentless pursuit of what he thought was right.
And hopefully discover how that kind of fierce determination could transform not just science, but maybe our collective conscience, too.
It's a story about a boy from poverty who dared to dream, a scientist who saw the invisible, literally, and a humanitarian who, at times, stood completely alone against a world that felt like it was teetering on the brink.
Yeah.
So maybe by the end we can ask ourselves, how far are we willing to go for what we believe?
That's a big question.
It is. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Let's step back to 1901, Portland, Oregon. Picture a young Linus Pauling, growing up with very little money.
Yeah, the family situation was tough. His father, a pharmacist, died when Linus was only 9.
Right, leaving his mother to raise 3 kids alone. Survival was the priority. Education felt like, a luxury.
Definitely not a given.
But even then, something sparked in him. Our sources really highlight this moment, watching a friend's father do some simple chemistry experiments.
Just basic stuff, fizzing beakers.
Yeah, for other kids, maybe it was just a game. But for Linus, he later called it a glimpse into the very machinery of the universe.
Wow. That's quite a perspective for a kid.
Isn't it? And he devoured textbooks, ones he could barely afford, walking miles sometimes just to borrow them.
Reading late into the night, hungry for knowledge. Sometimes literally hungry, apparently.
Yeah, sometimes skipping meals.
And looking at the biographical notes, it's striking how that hardship didn't seem to hold him back. It almost fueled him.
It seems like it.
It wasn't just curiosity. It feels like a refusal to accept limits. And something key here, I think, is that his genius wasn't just raw intellect. It was this ability to visualize things, atomic structures, molecules in 3D.
Oh, interesting. So like spatial reasoning.
Exactly. A skill maybe honed by that early self-driven learning. It wasn't just about memorizing formulas. He could see it.
And that became a hallmark later on.
Absolutely.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
A boy who could have just faded away due to hardship, instead dreaming of dissecting atoms.
It shows that dreams, if you really feed them with persistence, can break through almost anything.
So fast forward a bit. His late teens, he gets into Oregon State University.
But still working constantly, right?
Yeah.
Multiple jobs to pay his way.
Oh, yeah. Nothing came easy.
Yeah.
But his intellect, his passion, it just stood out.
He saw science differently.
He really did. Not just dry formulas. He called it a rich tapestry, weaving together life's deepest patterns. That holistic view.
That really defined his whole approach, didn't it?
It did. And this is where things really start to accelerate. Later, at Caltech, he embarks on work that just fundamentally redraws the map of chemistry.
Yeah, Caltech was the place. He starts pioneering quantum chemistry.
Using quantum mechanics, which is mind-bending stuff anyway.
Right.
But using it to finally explain the invisible glue holding atoms together, chemical bonds.
For the first time, you could actually see and predict how molecules would behave. It wasn't just observation anymore.
You can understand the why.
Exactly. And he had this gift, this conceptualizing the invisible. One huge insight was about bond strength.
Okay.
It wasn't fixed, he showed. It was like a probabilistic resonance between different possible states.
Resonance. What does that mean, practically?
Think of it like a molecule sort of vibrating really fast between several different shapes all at once, in a way.
Huh.
It was revolutionary. It totally changed how we understand molecular stability, how we design new materials.
And his book, The Nature of the Chemical Bond.
Oh, massively influential. Became the text. Shaped generations of scientists, chemists, physicists.
Wow. But he wasn't just stuck in chemistry.
No, that's the other thing. He crossed boundaries.
Chemistry, biology.
Yeah.
Between what was known and what seemed, well, impossible.
Which is where brilliance lies, but it also means sometimes you take a wrong turn.
Right. So he proposed the alpha helix structure for proteins.
Okay.
Huge leap, right? Understanding how these biological machines actually work.
Monumental. Absolutely fundamental to molecular biology.
But then there was the DNA thing.
Ah, yes, the infamous triple helix.
He proposed this structure for DNA in '53.
Completely wrong. Around the same time, Watson and Crick nailed the double helix.
Must have been humbling.
Oh, I imagine so. But it shows, doesn't it? Even geniuses can be wrong. Science needs that checking, that validation.
Peer review empirical evidence.
Exactly. But even being wrong, he pushed people to think.
And his biology work wasn't just theory. Hemoglobin, proteins. He didn't just make them visible. He found the molecular defect in sickle cell anemia.
Which was groundbreaking. The first time a specific disease was linked directly to a tiny change in a single molecule structure.
That changed medicine, right? Understanding genetic diseases on a whole new level.
Absolutely. A whole new paradigm.
But then the world changes. World War II.
Yeah, a huge turning point for him, personally and professionally.
He contributes a lot to the war effort. Synthetic blood plasma substitutes, explosives research, important work, saved lives.
Definitely. But it clearly created this deep internal conflict.
He saw science as this double-edged sword. It could heal or it could destroy.
And that wasn't abstract anymore.
No. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, our sources say that truth just seared itself into his conscience.
He couldn't look away.
It forced him to ask, really ask, what is the role of a scientist in a world that can literally annihilate itself?
And that question fundamentally shifted his path.
It did. It's this fascinating transformation, isn't it? From the pure scientist to, well, a voice of conscience.
At a time when that was not encouraged, the Cold War was ramping up, fear was pervasive.
Silence was expected. Dissent was dangerous.
And Pauling starts speaking out, insistently, loudly, against nuclear proliferation, against testing.
It was an immense act of moral courage, especially given his stature. He risked everything.
He felt he had to. A moral imperative driven by his scientific understanding of the risks.
And speaking truth to power like that, it always comes with a cost. He knew that. He paid it.
Oh, absolutely. The 1950s, the height of the Cold War paranoia.
He campaigns tirelessly against atmospheric nuclear testing, gets thousands of scientists from around the world to sign a petition for a test ban treaty.
Giving speeches, writing articles, directly confronting political leaders.
And the backlash was immediate and severe.
Yeah, imagine this. You've won a Nobel Prize in chemistry. You're one of the world's top scientists.
And suddenly you're smeared as unpatriotic, branded a communist sympathizer.
The FBI put him under surveillance, restricted his passport so he couldn't attend scientific conferences abroad.
Publicly attacked in the press, even by figures like McCarthy.
He even went on TV to debate Edward Teller.
The father of the H-bomb.
Right. Using scientific evidence against the political tide, almost unheard of then.
Ostracized by colleagues, the establishment turning its back.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many of us would stand that kind of pressure when your reputation, your career, maybe even your freedom feels threatened?
His compass just wasn't pointing towards applause, was it? It pointed towards justice as he saw it.
He knew the cost was isolation, but he stood firm. Though it's fair to say, some historical accounts suggest his very public, sometimes maybe aggressive style.
Yeah.
Well, while it got attention, it might have alienated some potential allies who agreed on the test ban, but not his tactics or perceived political leanings.
So it was complex. The tightrope activist scientists walk.
Very complex, but ultimately.
Ultimately, his perseverance made a difference. 1962. The world is on the brink during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
They're playing time.
And Pauling's relentless push for a test ban treaty, he gets recognized. He's awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
A global affirmation, his warnings, his advocacy, it had an impact. The nuclear test ban treaty was signed shortly after.
And that made him unique. Alone among scientists, maybe alone among all Nobel laureates. A dual winner in two totally different fields.
Chemistry and peace, unshared.
It's just, think about that journey. The poor boy who couldn't afford textbooks. The scientists reviled and silenced.
And yet, a voice so powerful it helped shape humanity's survival. Incredible conviction.
The Shueika doesn't end there on a perfect high note. His later years weren't without issues.
No, the path wasn't always smooth. There was significant controversy later on.
Mostly around his really fervent advocacy for high doses of vitamin C.
Right, as a sort of panacea, wasn't it? For everything from the common cold to
treating and even preventing cancer. Big claims.
Huge claims. And the mainstream medical and scientific communities were Well, skeptical is putting it mildly.
Widespread skepticism, sometimes outright ridicule. Clinical trials, especially ones he wasn't directly involved in, just didn't back up the claims with rigorous evidence.
And many peers felt he was damaging his scientific credibility, the very thing he'd built his entire life on.
It's a difficult chapter.
It is. But what's interesting, I think, looking back through our sources, is how it also reveals something else about his courage.
How so?
Pauling wasn't afraid to be wrong, or maybe wasn't afraid to chase a hypothesis, even if it flew in the face of accepted wisdom.
He believed science advanced by challenging dogma.
Exactly. By daring hypotheses, by pushing boundaries, not by timid consensus. Was he misguided on vitamin C? The evidence strongly suggests yes, especially the way he promoted it.
He published in less reputable journals sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Which didn't help.
No, that definitely fueled the criticism about his methods in that area. But his willingness to risk the ridicule, maybe that itself is a lesson in intellectual bravery, even if you end up being wrong.
The messy process of discovery.
Right. It reminds you that science isn't some finished monument of certainty. It's a living river, constantly flowing, changing.
And Pauling, even with his flaws, never stopped swimming in it. Exploring, questioning.
Even when it led him into controversial waters, he remained this fierce individualist, trusting his own insights, maybe sometimes too much.
So when we pull back,
Mm.
what does it all mean? What's the legacy here?
Is it the science, the chemical bonds, the structures, the textbooks?
Or is it the moral courage? Refusing to stay silent when silence felt like complicity and potential disaster.
I think the truth is you can't separate them. It has to be both.
They're linked.
Inextricably. His life wasn't neat boxes, logic and passion, scientist and humanitarian, pioneer and rebel, all at once.
He left a blueprint then, not just for chemistry.
But maybe for human integrity? That knowledge without conscience is dangerous. And conscience without courage? It's powerless.
He showed that the same curiosity that unlocks the atom can also compel you to safeguard humanity.
Precisely.
So, reflecting on his journey, it forces us to ask ourselves some things, doesn't it? What hardships do we let define us? What truths do we swallow down for fear of criticism?
Where do we draw that line between just being comfortable and standing by a conviction?
Pauling definitely didn't pick the easy road. He chose the hard one: rejection, doubt, ridicule.
But he walked it anyway. And maybe that's what lit the path.
His life seems like proof that greatness isn't about being perfect. It's about perseverance, vision, and having the guts to stand alone sometimes.
Yeah.
So as we close this deep dive, maybe the real question isn't actually about Linus Pauling. Maybe it's about us. What's our chemical bond, that thing that anchors us? What's our cause that's so urgent, so burning, that we'd risk standing alone for it?
Will we choose silence when things feel unjust? Or will we find our voice, like Pauling did, even when it feels like everyone is shouting against us?
He stood before a hostile world and just refused to bow.
And importantly, our sources show his courage wasn't superhuman. It was human courage, just amplified by conviction.
Which means we're capable of it too.
I think that's the implication. The lesson is maybe dare to ask the questions others ignore. Dare to stand by your truth, even when it costs you. Dare to believe that one voice, if it's persistent, if it's unyielding, it really can change the course of history.
Because if a poor boy from Oregon, armed with just knowledge and courage, could stare down armies, governments, and the skepticism of his peers, what truly is stopping us?